Welcome, guys. Welcome to Intimate Nights with the Clubhouse Foundation. I am Javante Wilson. I am the founder and CEO of the Clubhouse Foundation. The Clubhouse Foundation is a community based, youth focused initiative designed to focus on the mental well being and empowerment of young adults between the ages of 18 through 35 through social mixers, forums, events, and monthly, quarterly, and annual events. Tonight's discussion is going to be really, really amazing. We are joined by some amazing guests. Our facilitator for tonight's evening is Breon Clemens. I'm going to turn the conversation over to her. Breon, take it away.
Good evening, everyone. I am Breon Clemens, and I'm your facilitator for this evening. I am a therapist in California. I've been working in the mental health field for over 10 years. I've worked with multiple populations, so I'm super excited tonight to be facilitating this forum tonight, where we're going to be talking about how trauma impacts our daily lives, primarily our intimate relationships, from our familial, our family relationships, to our intimate relationships, to our relationships with our friends, and all of the above. So tonight we are getting ready to have fun. I'm so grateful that you guys came out to join us. And I'm going to allow our amazing panelists to introduce themselves. First, we're going to go ahead and start off with the other therapist that we have here this evening, Celeste the therapist. Take it away.
Hello, I am so excited to be here. So my name is Celeste Fissier, but people know me as Celeste the therapist. I've been in the mental health field for over 10 years, and my goal is to help people kind of shift the way they think, but I really enjoy talking about mental health, and I also love talking about relationships, so I'm really excited to have this dialogue today.
Thank you so much, Celeste, for being here this evening. And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to our next panelist. He is a pro dancer, so go and take it away, Leo.
Hi, guys. I'm Leo Price. As she stated, I am a professional dancer and also a fitness lifestyle coach. I'm very appreciative to be a part of this panel. I'm excited and can't wait to get started.
Thank you so much for joining us this evening. I'm so glad to have you here. And our next panelist is Kyla Sowell, and she is a community activist. Go ahead, Kyla, take it away.
All right, guys, my name is Kyla Sowell. I'm a community activist. I am the president of the Avis Cares program, where we just go out in the streets and we help out wherever's needed. I'm also a communications major, a communications analyst major. So I do a lot of communications work in every field and everything, and I'm excited to speak tonight, nervous, but excited, and I'm ready to go.
Well, thank you for joining us. Don't worry about being nervous. We're going to knock that right out the way because we're going to have fun this evening. So thank you for being here. Thank you for joining us. And next, I'm super excited to tell you guys about this young man here because he is an amazing dating coach. So I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself, Jay Lamar. Go for it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Jay Lamar. I am an executive matchmaker and dating coach for We Find Him. My company, We Find Him, is an illustrious dating service and matchmaking company that is geared towards matching same gender loving people. So I'm excited to be here and excited to talk about the different variations of love, dating, and relationships, and also the traumas from the past. So I'm excited about this conversation.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here this evening. I'm super excited. And I mean, I can allow him to introduce himself again, but y'all know Javante Wilson, the amazing Javante Wilson, the president and CEO of the Clubhouse Foundation. And I think we can all say that we thank you so much for allowing us this opportunity and this platform tonight to be able to have this conversation, Javante.
Thank you, Breon. I did want to share that. So I created the Clubhouse Foundation a few years ago in 2015 to focus on the mental and emotional well-being of young adults, no matter your sexual orientation, gender, or race. It is my baby. It's very true to my heart. I am honored that you all are a part of tonight's discussion. And this is just one of many. I can't wait to meet in person and do this, and to be able to hug on y'all and y'all hug on me, to where we get that feeling, that we so much love and enjoy. So yeah, thank you again, Brianna, and you all for being a part of this conversation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So I guess we could just hop right in. I'm going to be asking you all some questions. We're going to have some dialogue tonight. So let's hop right in. So we know that trauma can impact each person differently. How has your past trauma shown up in your intimate relationships? Anyone at this point can go ahead and jump right in.
I'll start. So for me, for me, my past trauma, not feeling wanted, or I think in my relationship, I remember I would always tell, he's my husband now, but my boyfriend, like, oh, you're gonna leave me. You're gonna leave me, because I always felt like he was gonna leave me despite what happened. We could be together all day, and then next thing you know, he's leaving, and I'm having a panic, like, why are you leaving? And so one day he said to me, he was like, all right, then we're gonna break up. And I was devastated, because I kept saying, oh, you're gonna break up with me? He was like, okay, I'm gonna break up with you then. And I realized later on that because of like being left as a child, my inner child was screaming out. So it doesn't matter what he did, he could never do enough, because my inner child was controlling the show. And I know that played a huge role in my relationship at the beginning.
So it was that abandonment, that feeling of neglect and abandonment that kind of showed up in your own relationship now or then.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yep. And I think that people don't understand that it doesn't matter if you have somebody that's good in your life, if that trauma has not been tapped into, or that's going to be the lens that you see things under. So it gets really complicated. And luckily he stuck around. I don't know who's more crazy, him or me, but I was like, yo, luckily he stuck around, because he should have really left my ass a long time ago.
But he stuck around, and so that's amazing. We thank him for sticking around. Okay, and that can be stressful on a relationship, honestly, trying to prove who you are to that person. That could definitely be a barrier in a relationship. Anybody else? I'll repeat the question even. So we know that trauma can impact each person differently. How has your past trauma shown up in your intimate relationships? Go for it, Leo.
Well, for me, growing up, I was a very shy person, introvert. And as I kind of progressed in this lifestyle, I kind of saw the gay lifestyle pretty much as kind of being messy and everyone in your business. So I was already built up a semi-wall regarding that. So, but when my mother passed, that's when I guess things really took a turn for me specifically, in terms of showing emotions and just emoting, period. Because my idea of less drama is not showing emotions, not letting people see how things affect you, but kind of like have this Superman mentality going forward. And especially with the passing of my mother, I just literally just pushed everything down, because I just thought, like, you can't be productive in life if you're too busy crying, if you're too busy being sad, if, like, I've never seen anyone cry and make $1 million at the same time. I don't know, just me. So that was my thought process. And so even going into relationships, I've even heard it in my dance career also, like, show some emotions. And there was always a disconnect, because I'm like, I'm showing emotions, but it wasn't being, it wasn't being shown as I thought it was, or clear as it was. It was more like a thought, like, okay, I'm showing an emotion in my head, but physically I have it, or I wasn't. So even with dating, I've been told so many times, you act like you don't care, especially when people tell me their problems. And I was like, it's not like I don't care, because I care, but I guess I just had so much trouble just showing those emotions because I've just built up this wall of the more I keep people out of my business and the more I don't show that vulnerability, the safer I am in regards to life. So, I mean, a lot of that has affected me, and I'm now just starting to learn to actually be okay with feeling emotions, at least be the first step to just feel it and be okay with that and not be so shy or try to avoid it. Because to be quite honest with you, it's affected me to the point of I don't remember a lot about my mother's death and the experience that I went through because I just shoved it down so much. So yeah, and so sometimes I'm afraid to open up that door, especially to deal with that trauma, because there's this 50-50 chance of I may come out of it great and may come out of it a stronger person. But there's this fear also of what if I'm not able to overcome it? What if it just opens this waterfall that I just don't come back from? So I rather not deal with it. That was my thought process, not to deal with it. That way I don't have to worry about not coming back from it. It's like that 50-50 chance. And I'm looking at it more as the glass is half empty. But yeah, I'm slowly starting to learn now, how to slowly address those issues and just feel emotions first. Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so first, I would be remiss if I didn't stop and take this moment to say I'm sorry for your loss.
Yeah.
I'm deeply sorry for your loss. The loss of a parent can be one of the deepest traumatic experiences that anyone can experience. And so, I can't say that I know that feeling, but I can say that I'm here to support. And so my deepest condolences for your loss. And that's a really tough, traumatic experience to navigate through in life and to open yourself and be vulnerable to a partner as well. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Devontae, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I mean, I almost forgot who I got facilitated. I mean, you got it. I mean, because I was like, I was trying to meet him right there in that space where it's like, thank you for being vulnerable enough to share that in this space. So, thank you for that. But yeah, I'll go next too. And I think my mom is on here. So, I mean, I was raised by a single parent, and my mother is a Taurus. We have another tourist on the call too. And so my mom was very headstrong, very assertive, very clear about what she wanted and what she didn't like. And so she was a bit of a control freak, and controlling in her relationships. And that is definitely something that I adopted in my relationships. And I something I had to kind of like check myself on. And so it could that can be perceived as a trauma because was not necessarily a positive experiences to, I guess, see that because you learn certain things of how you think you're supposed to maneuver and operate in a relationship, and trying to control another human being is just not going to be it, especially a man. And I date men, so I try to control other men, which is just not going to happen. And it's just it goes to show like it's some traumas are certain things that we learn along the way we have to unlearn, so that they don't continue showing up. But that is definitely one of mine that it still shows up today. I'm still a work in progress. My current partner can tell you, like, he's like, you are controlling, you can control everything. But a part of that is also you're trying to prevent from getting hurt. And the hurt that caused by if somebody is to do something that goes against how you, well, may make you feel a particular way or whatever the case may be. But yeah, like that's definitely one thing that I have to learn is to try to like let go of control, and then also being in a position of leadership. In multiple areas of my life, at work, I'm in a position of leadership, and with my family, I'm one of the oldest siblings, so it's kind of like I've been in control of in so many different areas. So when it comes to my personal life, it's almost like I don't know how to turn it off because it's all I know. And so it's definitely something to work on. So it won't cause trauma for them because essentially that's what's happening.
And stop blaming that on your mama. That you a Virgo. Stop blaming me.
Well,
You a Virgo. Don't play. Mama, if you watching this, it ain't you, boo. You know I love you. You a Virgo.
My fellow Taurus, it ain't your fault. He like that.
But there was something that he said that just caught my attention, because a lot of people, when dating or going into a relationship, they tend to always say, well, don't penalize me for your past relationships, or don't bring that baggage to me. But I don't think that we intentionally do it. It's just
Right.
that we learn from our experiences, and so we just try to navigate better so we don't go through that same feeling of being hurt again. You know what I mean?
Right.
Especially those experiences, I feel like, that come from childhood. Like, if it's something that you've done in childhood that has affected you in a good or bad way, you kind of carry that into new partnerships.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like for me, I was bullied a lot as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And that really, at that young of an age, I was raised to like have high self-esteem. My mama told me I was cute every day. Thank you, Renee. Every day I left out the house, my mama made sure to tell me, your pants look good, your face look good, and your clothes is ironed. I love you. So going into a school environment with my peers, I didn't have that same type of attention. I was teased for having creased pants. I was teased for having, curly hair and being this light bright kid. And that really affected me, I feel like, in more ways than I even knew. I feel like after being bullied as a kid, I really kind of protected my feelings even more, because the innocence of a child is so important. And I would walk up to and try to meet friends and mingle as a kid. And immediately I was called names like gay and you're weird, you talk white and all this type of stuff. And I was like, what? I don't even know what gay is. I'm in the second grade. What is gay? I don't even know what that is. And that affected me in my relationships in the past. I think that, I was engaged twice, and in those relationships, I feel like I walked into those relationships with a bit of not anger, but just like, I feel like I always had to be on the defense. So it left me less vulnerable to kind of receive the love that they may have been trying to provide. Now, I ain't gonna say they was good men, child. I ain't gonna lie, they was some badass men. But I think that there were moments to where they may have been trying to provide me with some source of love. And because I had this guard up, I kind of pushed them away. So dealing with bullying as a kid I feel like sometimes left me less vulnerable. Now that I'm in my 30s and I've kind of addressed that childhood trauma in a sense, I'm ready to receive love on a different level. I'm ready to be more vulnerable, but that takes time. It didn't happen overnight. Like, I've been single for 6 years, and hell, I think it took me about 5.5 to realize that my ass wasn't as vulnerable as I need to be,
And if you could speak to that inner child, if you can go back and speak to the child you, what would you say?
Rian, you trying to get this emotion out of me?
I mean, I am a therapist.
I'm like, yes, Bree, give him that question. That's a good question, girl. You know I love it.
I feel like if I had to talk to like the younger Jay Lamar as a kid, like, I would definitely tell him that you are a shining star, and that don't allow others around you to dim your light, because they don't understand how bright you really shine. I think that I would also tell him to like lift your head up. Don't walk into that classroom with your head down. Don't cry every day after school. Like, you're going to be somebody someday, and these people are going to be upset at the way they treat you. Know that you are a powerful Black boy already, and you're going to make it. That's what I would tell.
Come on, affirmations. Come on, Fern. Uh-oh.
You know it. That's what I would tell the younger me. I mean, because childhood bullying is a real thing.
Oh, it is.
Yeah, and as a kid, I used to sit up there in my notebook, in my agenda, at the little binders they used to give me in school. I would literally count how many times a day I was called like a FAG, or you're gay, or what's wrong with you. And sometimes I remember it'd be like 10 to 12 times a day. And I would go home, and y'all, I was raised by this OG. And I wasn't able to be honest with my mother about how I was treated at school because I was ashamed to tell her that they called me gay, or I was scared of what she might do up at that school. So I didn't want to, I just want to keep that inside.
Right.
As a child and being suicidal at that young of an age, it really haunted me and hurt me on the inside. So yeah, I would definitely make sure I tell the younger Jay Lamar that you a badass little boy and you gonna make it in this life, period.
Period. So here's the thing. I often encourage us all to go ahead and speak to our inner child, because there are some of those unspoken things, those affirmations that we needed back then. So yeah, definitely reach back to your inner child at times and go ahead and speak to that.
I would like to add to that too, though, Brianna.
Oh, I was getting ready to get to you. Okay.
No, I was another child who lost a parent at a young age. And so I grew up worrying about people leaving me all the time. And I remember one time, maybe in the 2nd or 3rd grade, I had a little birthday party at school. And my mom told me that my grandma didn't come because she got in a car accident on the way. And even though it was minor, I didn't know that. And so as a kid, like I went crazy. I was so like, she's leaving me. Like, what happened? You know? And finally, I found out it was a fender bender, but the car was just messed up and she couldn't go. So it really affected me. And I took that into my adult relationships as well, being in a relationship and treating my partner as a possession. Like, you're mine. You belong to me. You can't go nowhere. Who looking at you? Who talking to you? You know? And it was only till the last few years that I learned to treat people. Brian, you and I have talked about this as experiences, and you don't possess anybody, you don't own anybody. But because of what I went through in the past of losing my father and just thinking all the time that somebody was leaving me, it made me very possessive of people and of things too, you know. I used to get mad if somebody wore my socks. I had to think about socks. And it's like, you can't wear my socks because they're mine. They're mine. So just my past trauma of thinking things will go away and I wouldn't have my favorite socks anymore. Or, you know, my partner was going to leave me. It made me very, very possessive of people. And I always treated people as possessions instead of as people or as things or, you know, whatever. So I definitely understand that. And just I carried that trauma of my father passing and never addressing it. Even my 34-year-old self, still never being to his grave, never, none of those things. But I carry the trauma of always thinking that somebody or something is leaving to me. So I hold on to everything way too tight. That's it.
And let me also extend this to you as well. I said it before and I'll say it again. I'm sorry for your loss, because it is not easy to lose a parent, and it's even harder to navigate through life with that loss. It's really truly tough, especially like you said, navigating through it and holding on to things with the tightest grip. It almost makes your partner uncomfortable. It's like, I'm just going to the restroom. What do you mean? Like, relax.
Yeah, but I'm like, no, where are you going? Who in there? Is somebody? No, let me go check it out first. You know.
Right. So we have to really be careful with that, because that unprocessed trauma can definitely show up in our relationships and make our partners uncomfortable. Okay, we're gonna move on to the next question. Here we go. We know trauma shapes many of our decisions. Can you identify a trauma that you experienced that may have influenced your career choice? Go ahead.
I feel like, so I grew up depressed. It wasn't a name. I would have never said like I was depressed growing up. And I ended up working somewhere where I talk to people all day, and I'm a therapist. So I think that because of what I went through and how I was able to find my healing place, I've become so passionate about leading people to that place that I'm currently at. So I think that's why I'm a therapist right now.
Yeah, I think for me, love, dating, relationships. I had my first, same gender loving relationship when I was 17 years old. And that was a tumultuous relationship. Then I had another one at 19, then another one at 24. And all of those relationships were like really, really tumultuous. And after my last relationship ended when I was 25, 26, I took a second and was like, what's going on? Like, because the common denominator of all these relationships ending is me. I'm the common denominator of all these relationships. So let me figure out what's going on with me. And when I did the self-work, I realized that I did not honor my self-worth. And I said, there's a lot of people in relationships that don't honor their self-worth. So how can I help people honor their self-worth and also find true love? And so that's why I started my company, We Find Him. Our organization, my organization, is meant to not only help you find love for somebody else, but first find it for yourself. All of our programs, all of our matchmaking services and dating services are geared towards first you figuring out who you are, what you want out of this life. And then after that, you can then find partnership in somebody else. Because what you owe yourself is self-love at the end of the day. So my traumatic experience in those relationships kind of led me to starting my business. So thank you to those men that broke my heart. I appreciate y'all. Thank you so much because you helped me find my passion and my purpose.
I'll add, I'll say, thinking about it, I think attention is something that growing up I longed for. I didn't feel very attractive growing up. I was very skinny. People made fun of, my lips. They would say, "Oh, big lip Leo," or they would quote the Nutty Professor line, your lip was swollen. So going through all that, I never really felt attractive. I never had confidence. So the minute I started dancing, I started getting attention. People started looking at me like, "Oh, you're a dancer. Oh, wow." And I'm just like, "Who? Me? Wait." So then as that progressed, I also turned into a career choice of fitness. I started fitness initially for the attention, just because I did maybe a workout for a month. And next thing you know, I'm getting looks like, "Damn, you fine." Like, "Oh, you sexy." So that was like, okay, well, let me just continue this fitness journey. Later on, it's now a passion. It's something that I do because I love it, and because it's a lifestyle that I'm really invested in outside of just looking great. You know what I mean? But I think that's one thing that has also controlled my narrative in choices that I make in terms of career fields too, is simply, not feeling attractive growing up. Wow, I just realized that. Damn, okay, this is a therapy session for me. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Okay.
I'll be sending you my invoice.
I was about to say, I'm not paying no copay. So
I'll go next, Brian.
Go ahead.
So it's interesting, like when you really sit back and think about everything that you go through in life, how all the dots are connected, and nothing just happens just to happen. Um, I have been on a journey. Clearly, I'm gay. I have gone through the bullying. I got jumped by 5 fifth graders when I was in the second grade because I was, act too feminine or, just, being questioned by people and family members. You want to be a girl because you're feminine and you're, surrounded by a lot of women and all these different things. And so, my day job, I have been working in public health for the last 10 years. I work for a nonprofit by the name of In the Meantime Men's Group. Shout out to In the Meantime. In the Meantime, also, plug, has supported the Clubhouse with a grant of $10,000 so that we can do things like this and some other things to help the community and young people. So, shout out to them. I really am thankful and honored for that. But for the last 10 years, I have been a tester. I just started off as a mobile tester within the meantime. And I'm now currently the lead HIV tester with In the Meantime Men's Group. And over the last 10 years of testing, um, we conduct counseling sessions, which are supposed to be 20 minutes that end up lasting an hour. And once people come in to get a HIV test, it's never really about their sexual behavior. It's all the things that that they have been through and they're going through that leads up to why they do the sexual act and why maybe their sexual behavior is the way that it is. And in those conversations, a lot of the sexual behaviors that they have developed have stemmed from trauma of not feeling loved and accepted and going through certain things and abuse and I could write a book on just the counseling sessions and the stories that I have heard. And all of those things, a majority of the stories I relate to in some type of capacity, one way or another, whether I have been affected by it or someone close to me have been affected by it, which made me start focusing more so on mental health, which I found myself getting into this field of work to help people to find out their status, and found my passion, which is to help people and connect to people on a mental level and make sure that they're mentally well, which has led me to start my nonprofit, the Clubhouse, that focus on the mental well-being. And I'm a real advocate of it. Start with our younger people. If you catch people in the younger days when they're so vulnerable and they're looking and seeking for guidance because they're trying to figure this thing called life out, we we will all be better people, and our future will be better because we have better leaders. And so that's how I got into this field, and I'm working on being a therapist like you two ladies. That is the end goal for me, so that I can do even better help. I mean, work and be more impactful. But so that would be what led me to get into the field that I'm now entering to, and yeah.
Okay, anybody else want to answer that? How trauma shaped your career choice? All right, we're gonna move on to the next question. So it's said that trauma can impact your personal development, and that development is stifled when the trauma occurs. So if the trauma occurred when you were 3, then you're stuck at your 3-year-old self. If the trauma occurred when you were 16, you're stuck at your 16-year-old self. Do you feel that your developmental age is the same as your chronological age? If not, what age would you say your trauma set you back to?
Oh, Brian. Well, I will start with this one. For me, honestly, I feel like it did the opposite. I feel like the trauma and the lived experiences that I've been through so far has forced me to grow. And to where I mean, I am 29, just turned 29. And for years, whenever I tell them my age, they're like, "You're how old? You don't seem that old." And it's like, well, you don't look old. I mean, not offend you, but it's like you act so mature. And it's definitely because of some of the trauma and shit I've been through and life experiences I have to figure some shit out. And it has forced me to grow. So in my case, has done the opposite. I don't know what age I would say that I am, maybe mid 30s or something. I don't know, but but there are some to where okay, so in majority or in most aspects of my life, I feel like I operate in a very mature and very someone that may be older than what I function at a higher level than the most 29-year-old may function. However, I will say there are moments that I wish that I had someone to lead so I don't always have to be in control. And so I can gain back that kid mentality or the experiences that I didn't really get to gain because I was forced to grow up. Like a lot of my peers were able to go to college and gain the college experience. I can do that because it was like, get out here, figure it out, or you're gonna be homeless, which I was 2 times, or get out here, figure it out because of whatever the case may be. And so when I do find either a partner or friends that give me a level of comfort to where I feel like I can be the younger self that I was not really able to be, I would easily say I go to probably like a teenager or something. Definitely.
I would agree. I think for me, it was the fact that I felt like I had to grow up, like at an early age. I felt like I had to identify with certain emotions and feelings at a young age that was pretty much for somebody else that was older, dealing with a parent, just out of nowhere. One day they're the best parent in the world, then the next day they're gone. And there's not a whole lot of explanation as to why daddy left. It's just daddy gone. And, not to see daddy, it's been 20 years and, I can count on one hand how many times I've seen my father, in those type of situations, like I didn't know how to identify that emotion and that feeling. And we all grew up in Black households to where therapy wasn't really an option. It was at a young age, you kind of were taught to, deal with your emotions and carry forward and be strong in life, even with bullying as a kid, and dealing with, domestic violence in a relationship. It was like, I had to just grow up and deal. And I felt like, opposed to me decreasing in age, that made me age more in my head mentally, because I had to figure out on my own how to deal with those feelings, and not really sitting down with a therapist for the first time in my life till I was 26 years old. And I felt like mentally, I didn't know how else I can function on my own. I couldn't give myself any more advice. I couldn't give myself any more fight. Like I needed somebody to really just take me by the hand and say, look, this is what you do. You gotta let this go. You gotta deal with that. So sitting down with my therapist for the first time at 26 allowed me to learn to process, deal with finally some of those issues from childhood, grow up, and make me wiser. And I think that the experience that we all have dealt with in our childhood really shaped us into phenomenal people. Look at us now. We had to go through certain obstacles and certain situations to be where we are now, so that maybe we can help somebody else so they don't have to go through the traumas of life that we went through. But I can say this as a 32-year-old fine-ass man, hey y'all, single at that age, I can say that for me, it made me grow up. So I definitely feel like, I'm about 35, a little bit, 36. I look 21.
I'll add to that a little bit. With, like I said, I was missing a parent growing up. My dad died at 5, and then it was just me and my mom. And about late middle school, my mom got on drugs. So it was a crazy experience, because it's like, this is the only person that I had, and that's what she did. And even though I started junior college young, not young, but 18, 17, and I went ahead to university. I was there for a minute. I came back home. My career was stagnant because I was so worried about the now. I wasn't looking forward. I said, I can't go to school right now because I have to worry about today. I got to worry about tomorrow. Mom is gone. Dad is gone. What am I going to do for me now? And I feel like that really stopped the progression of my education and my higher education, because I was just so worried about making money at that moment. And it wasn't until I was 31, 32 that I decided to go back to school. So now I'm a 34-year-old college student, and in the back of my mind, it's like, it pisses me off sometimes, because it's like, I could have had this shit done when I was 22. I could have been done with this, but now I'm struggling writing papers at night, and all these young kids, everybody in there, 21, 22, they don't have nothing to worry about because their parents are taking care of them. But then my grown ass is in there trying to go to work, trying to do this, pay bills, do all this stuff, and be a full-time college student. So I feel like just the trauma of not having the parents there for me, it really played a big part on me not going to school, not focusing on my career and my education, and it kind of halted everything for me. And I ended up just working, even though I did ended up around 25, 26, finding a really decent job that paid me well, and then I got stuck there. I kind of forgot about my education for a while. And as time progressed, I turned around, I'm in my 30s, and I'm like, man, what am I going to do? Like, I don't want to do this forever. This is just a job. This isn't a career, So I did get back into school, and I got about a year left, or a year and a half left now, and I'll have my degree. But it's still just the trauma of what I went through then. It just really halted my whole career, my whole education, everything. And so I'm happy that I was able to jump back on. I had the sense enough, I guess, to say to jump back on in my 30s to let me get back in school and let me figure out what I'm gonna do. But the trauma of what I was going through at that moment really halted everything for me. And I was only worried about nickel and diming at that moment, making whatever little money I could make then to make it, you know, and it messed my whole career up in my education for the moment.
I'll say this, you know, I think like everyone's saying, like I felt like I grew older. You know, I was very mature. I lived on my own. Emotionally, I didn't grow. And I remember pre-therapy, Celeste wanted a dollhouse. I wanted teddy bears. Trauma started around 9, 10. So, you know, I think that on the surface level, for people that were looking at me on the outside in, I was my age, but when I looked at myself internally, I was emotionally a very lost child. And I think that part, I think people tend to miss when it comes to the trauma, because, you know, we keep going, especially growing up in America, you know, we continue to follow the lines of success. And for me, it was like, you know, I got this job, I got my master's, and I find myself still struggling. And that's when I realized, like, it's not about the next level to make me happy. I had to start actually looking in to work on my healing part. So on the surface, I was older. Emotionally, I was not older at all.
Okay. And so wanted to stop for a second to say congratulations to Kyla, because she did say that she was getting ready to graduate. So I definitely wanted to say congratulations to that. And then I also wanted to see if Leo wanted to chime in on that first before I gave my spiel. Okay.
I don't have much. I mean, it's kind of pretty much the same as Kyla, but for me, I had always imagined, I guess, at some point my mother was going to just be around forever. She was my source of wisdom. And so I believe I got stuck around the age of 12, even though she didn't pass till years later. But that inner child of being 12, always, you know, being able to come to her and ask her for questions that she would always have like the right answer to. So when I didn't have her, I didn't know what to do. I was just like, I'm not smart enough then. Like, I haven't figured out, I have all these other questions that I need answers to. You know, but I later found out that a lot of things that I know she already instilled in me. And I didn't know that until after hearing people say, even family members say, you remind me so much of your mother, like all the time. But I would say definitely with her passing, my stuck age would be definitely 12 at that moment. Because even right now, just thinking about it, I just see myself now, you know, being in the bed, eating my bowl of cereal, watching Discovery Channel while she's reading her book. Like, I think about that all the time, and just asking questions about life and jobs. Like, I never had that opportunity to talk to her about like my purpose in life.
Right.
That was something that was so major, how I feel like everyone else around me had a purpose, knew what they were going to do. And I was waiting for her to kind of give me that purpose. So when I never got it, I was just kind of stuck in a limbo.
Okay. Okay. And so just really quickly, I wanted to speak to something that I noticed that everyone on here said, which was it didn't so much set me back as much as it did push me or propel me forward. And so I do want to say that I think that there's a cultural piece to that. But we ain't got enough time, because trust me, it's a cultural piece to that, where our traumas will sometimes force us to become what we call in the mental health field, the parentified child. And so with the parentified child, what you will find is that you become the parent, you become older, or you become that kid that what do the black parents say? She grown, right? Or he grown, or he been here before, right? And so we find that we become the parentified child because we're taking on a lot more responsibility than our chronological age should actually be taking on. We're taking on a lot of responsibility. Said that to say, really quickly, if you guys can please answer this as quickly as possible. Being the parentified child, do you find that you take care of your partner in your relationships because of that?
Yes.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You want to take over everything. You want to take care of everything. You want to be. For me, I was the person that was like, "Don't worry about it. I got it. Don't worry about it. I got it. What we need this. Okay, I got it." It made me take over everything in every aspect. I took over everything because I was used to taking care of things. So yeah, 100%.
Same, same. That's my first thing. That goes back to my control too, because I want to make sure it's right. So I'm going to, okay, we're gonna do X, Y, and Z. So like I had a conversation with my partner yesterday, and I was breaking something down to him. He was like, "So we gonna wing it?" No, we're not. I got it planned out. We're not winging anything. It's already done. So yep, yeah, same here.
It's almost like you don't trust them because you don't think that they have as much experience as you. You kind of see them as a child. You like, no, I got this. I've been doing this all these years. Like, follow my lead. But then deep down inside, you want them to take lead, but you just don't trust them to take lead. So, yeah. Ooh.
Yeah, let me add on this because Rihanna, you just kind of hit a spot for me because literally, I have that issue too. And my mindset and thought process is if I take care of it, there's no way in hell you can let me down. You know what I mean? Like it's going to be able to be great because I insured. So giving up those reins means now there's a chance that whatever it is may fail. You know, even going forward in relationships, as much as I even tell people like, sometimes I just wish somebody would take control. But then at the same time, I don't want to give it up. So it's that battle. Like, okay, you said short. I'm gonna keep it short.
No, it's okay. I just really wanted to touch on the parentified child and how that can even show up in your relationships. Okay. So the next one is family and friends. Family and friends. They can sometimes be the leading factor in our traumatic experiences. How has your past trauma influenced how you handle your friends and your family?
My friends became my family for me. Over time, with the passing of my dad, my mom going on and doing her drugs, me feeling like I couldn't personally relate to many people in my family because I grew up with a lot of kids, there was a lot of cousins, and everybody had their mom and dad, or one or the other, but I didn't. So it kind of made me stick to my friends. It kind of made me, how I spoke about earlier, possessed. Like, I got a best friend when I was about 17 or 18, and it was like, he's mine. That's my everything. I would always tell people that's the man in my life. And I've done that with all my friends over the years. They just become my family, so yeah, go ahead. I'll speak more about it later. But yeah, that's what it is for me. For me, friends are family.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think that for any of us within like the same gender loving community, you gravitate towards those who are like you. So majority of our fellow same gender loving friends become family. I was also fortunate enough to be blessed with this amazing foundation of aunts, uncles, and cousins that love and accepted me. And I cannot even think of one instance to where my cousins and my brothers ever turned their back on me. Even when I came out, they were right there with me. When I was bullied, they were mad I didn't tell them. And they didn't understand why people would pick on such a genuine person like me. So I would say that, friends and family like mean a hell of a lot to me because they show me so much love and support. And I've truly been blessed with a great group of people.
I'll say, my earliest exposure to love was me being taken advantage of, and so, however you're shown love, that's the way you start treating yourself if nobody's talking to you about it. So for me, like I was taken advantage of, and I tried to give a lot, just to make people happy. Like that's what I thought I was supposed to do. So it took me a long time to realize like I had to put myself first. And that was a very uncomfortable experience to start saying no and to not and to be okay with saying no and that I'm not okay. So I think that for me, it was very hard. I had a hard time in my adult years trying to love myself first because that, you know, I wasn't shown the proper way to love myself?
Uh, uh, I'm a little on both ends. So family has been some of my trauma, and also friends growing up in the gay community. So my experience is not so positive, and not they are part of the issues and the reasons that I have trust issues. And so it's hard for me to trust my partners, not necessarily because of what I feel like they're going to do, but because of what I feel like some of the people in the outside world going to do, especially when I have experienced it coming from my own family and friends. So that mine is a little different. However, I do have some family that I love dearly and that rock with me. But I also have had some family that has called me, the F word, or have spoke negatively about me and gay bash and all these different things, or make smile on my face, but they saying some negative things behind my back and it end up coming back to me. And I don't even have to press you about it, though you can stay over there and I can stay right over here, and I'm good. Channel all that energy that you focusing on me, on yourself, and maybe you'll be in a better place. But so yeah, but however, but that has helped me though as well, to where and I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing, but I'm not willing to stick around in an unhealthy situation if it's not mentally and emotionally healthy for me. If I see some type of toxic behaviors or mental and emotional or verbal abuse, I'm not having it. And I did deal with that in my first relationship. So I'm not dealing with it. So it kind of, the traumas of that and the negative experiences of that kind of have molded me to be a better person and a person that's, I guess, more on it and not so clingy when it comes to having to have a friendship, because I can cut some family off, and if I can cut my family off, baby, you bye. And that's just honestly how I feel. So yeah, so I mean, I'm torn between the two. That's pretty much my experience.
Anybody else want to speak to it? Because I personally would like to, but I'm a facilitator, so I can't really say too much.
Go ahead, Breon.
Okay. So just briefly, I can very, very closely relate to what my dear and amazing friend Javante has said. I think me and Javante on many nights have had these conversations about how because I've been done wrong by my family and because I've been done wrong by my friends, I am emotionally intelligent and I'm aware of my feelings and I'm aware of what's healthy and what's not healthy, what's toxic and what's not toxic. So when I see those red flags in other people who try to join the team, or other people who try to date me, or other people who try to become my friends, or just get close or draw near to me, if I see the same traits in you that I see in toxic family members or toxic friendships that I've had to cut off, by all means, you can get cut too. This is equal opportunity. Anybody can get it. Mm-hmm. And so no regrets. I have no regrets at all. I love every experience I've ever had, be it friendships, be it relationships, be it family members, even how they treated me. I'm gonna be honest with you, when family has treated me wrong, I don't feel bad. I mean, I feel bad for them because they missed out on an amazing opportunity to be in the presence of something absolutely amazing, but that's their loss. And so I digress and I move on. And I wish them nothing but the best in life, always. However, they just can't have a seat at my table and they can't eat with me. They got to go eat over there. And so but that's because I want to stay mentally healthy and I want to stay in a healthy place, cultivating and manifesting nothing but healthy relationships. And the only way that I can do that is if I prepare them a table over there. And so, that was my share for tonight on that.
I want to ask you a question.
Yes, absolutely.
What's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Sagittarius.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm the sign that most
Come on,
people
Sag. Come on, Sag.
And so but let me say this also, because it does sound like I'm very mature and I'm very grown in that way. It took a lot of therapy, it took a lot of healing. This was a journey for me to get here. So let me also say that. And let me go ahead and promote therapy, because it works if you work it. Okay. So if you don't have a therapist, by all means, please go out and go get you one. And if you're scared for any reason, please read up on it, do your research. But culturally, I know there's a stigma around it. Come on, guys. If you need it, go get it. So the next thing is I wanted to go ahead and hand this over to Jay Lamar just for a second, so that he can briefly go ahead and give you guys some advice on intimate relationships and how to navigate those, even in the midst of past trauma. Go ahead, Jay Lamar.
Well, I just want to give like a couple just encouraging words. I think that no matter what cards life has dealt you, you are entitled to be loved by somebody else. But before you can truly be loved by somebody else, you have to be loved by yourself. You have to really take the time and do the work and love the person that you are. I really, really encourage what Brianna said about like seeking therapy, seeking life coaches, dating coaches, whatever the case may be, that will help you uplift and love on yourself more. I know during this pandemic, it's absolutely crazy to think that people actually want to be in partnerships. But I think this pandemic has made a lot of people realize that either they're ready for partnerships or they want to get out of the current partnership that they're in. But I feel like now this is the time. We have so much time and energy and effort. The clubs closed, half of the restaurants closed, the bar closed, WeHo closed, Trunks closed, Lord Jesus. But we have so much time now to dedicate to ourselves. So I really encourage people to put the time and put the effort and put the energy into resolving whatever past trauma and issues you have within yourself, so that one day that you can take the time out and truly love somebody else the way you love yourself.
Okay. And so before we close out, I just wanted to say, I want to thank each and every person for getting on here today. I want to thank you for your time, Celeste. I want to thank you for your time, Leo. I want to thank you so much for your time, Jay Lamar, Kyla, Javante, and the Clubhouse Foundation for giving us this platform to be able to share this great dialogue with each other, sharing these moments and being vulnerable, sharing our traumatic experiences and how we've been able to kind of navigate through them just in our day-to-day and in our lives, in our intimate relationships, in our familial or in our family relationships, and even in our friendships, because those can be hard. I was looking at a meme the other day on Instagram that said, I think even Issa Rae, she wrote about this, where friendship breakups can be harder than intimate relationship breakups. And I was like, I agree, because I've had some friendships where I've been like, why does this hurt? My chest hurt. This don't feel good. And so those breakups can sometimes hit us in a spot where others don't. So for my closing remarks, I want to say thank you so much, Javante. I love you so much. And thank you for allowing me to facilitate. And my closing remarks to everyone who's watching this and to everyone on the panel is that it's important to remember that your past traumas shape how you navigate through life. So it's important to unlearn some of the things that traumatic experience taught you so that you could truly begin to heal. Unlearning a lot of the things that we were taught through those traumatic experiences. We were taught that we weren't good enough. We weren't smart enough. A lot of the times we even blame ourselves to why our partners might have left us. And we'll, put that blame on us. But we have to unlearn some of the things that we thought that we learned through those traumatic experiences. And in unlearning those things, that's where the healing begins. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it to Javante to close this thing on out. Go for it.
Thank you so much, Brian. Amazing as always. Thank you. I thank all of you all for being a part of this panel discussion. Thank you, everybody who's watching on Facebook and who's going to be watching on YouTube and Instagram and all the different platforms. Thank you guys for chiming in. We have people in the comments giving the little praise emoji hands, and they're chiming in, giving their own input as well. So I love that. Please share this live video with your own network. Um, and also, the clubhouse meets once a month for tea time. We do it virtually. We're doing it on Zoom, where we have a glass of wine, champagne, or whatever your drink of choice is, and just to have organic conversation, to be vulnerable in a safe place and space. And it's our form of therapy. As someone mentioned earlier on in the conversation, therapy is not normalized, especially in a Black community or amongst millennials. I think that is trendy now amongst millennials, but a lot of people don't stick to it. So we're taking a unique approach at addressing emotional well-being by having tea time once a month. If you all are interested in being a part of our monthly tea time, please inbox me your email address or your number, and I will text you the flyer and information each month as a new topic occurs. Yet again, thank y'all all for being a part of this. I love y'all for watching. Until the next time, this is just the first virtual intimate nights conversation. I cannot wait for the next one. Yet again, I cannot wait to be in person doing this. We got to bring Breon back again. Breon is phenomenal. Thank you again for signing on to this and saying yes, and also being a part of the clubhouse. So thank you so much, Breon. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, and thank you all for being a part of this conversation. Love y'all, mean it. Thank y'all for watching. Bye.